Hello everybody, another video about 1958 Formula 1, again with rFactor. Well, I'm not usually a fan of the Ferrari, but once I spotted this yellow Ferrari, I thought to myself, who was driving it? Olivier Gendebien, I hope my pronunciation is correct, so why not going to race in Belgium right after having found a better mode of the track, better than the ones I used so far. Sorry for the little drop of frame rate in this case. I think I saturated somehow my computer. Okay, let's start with two wheels on the grass, and while this nice colorful snake is rushing up close to the first corner, let me spend a few words about the Maserati in front of me. Number 42 is a private pilot, Maria Teresa De Filippi's first woman to qualify in a Formula 1 race ever. This is nice. I think it's a nice story. I don't want to be nasty against anyone, but don't get me wrong, my attempt of touching the rear of her car was not absolutely anything nasty. Okay, let's start with a crazy attack in the Bernenville long corner. I think I saved it by pressing a throttle and brake together, trying to straighten the classic rear wheel drive car while everything is gonna happen here, but in the end I saved it. Talking about saving it, this track is terrific. These cars are really crazy to drive. The Ferrari here is really a crazy horse, and sure, in real life the race was not to be faced in this way, because otherwise way more than half of the pilots would have ended in the graveyard. This is the terrific Mazda turn, the Mazda King, with a small bump right in the middle, and to be faced at something close to 200 kilometers per hour. It was really terrible, even because there are houses just aside the pretended track here. Plus the road is quite bumpy. Needless to say that I had to restart this race over 10 times before I managed to finish one. Okay, now we are at the long Stavelot double turn. I'm still in the back of the big pack of cars. The two Lotuses have been left behind. To be honest, in real life, I know that the first of the Lotuses was fourth. Only four racers arrived unlapped. But you know, the real life, as I just said before, real life needed to care survivor more than arriving first in the grid. So after that little crazy mistake I made before, I'm again in good company of Maria Teresa De Filippis and attacking, I think, Maurice Trintignant, while we are approaching I think the two corners at La Carrière. After this oh no, we are right in the end of the first lap, so big attack in braking after a couple of corners for the famous La Source hairpin. And here the Lotus, I think it was Graham Hill. The Lotus was a very light car, the Lotus 12, I think it's the model. Very light car, but very underpowered. So in a crazy track like this one, with 14 kilometers, I think that almost half of the time cars were above 200 kilometers per hour, as as a speed, and I remember I peaked with the powerful Ferrari at something like a 270, 275 more or less, which is with these tires, with this handling of the cars, is absolutely crazy. And now overtake after overtake, I'm slowly climbing up the grid. I set the AIs at 100% just to make things harder and more challenging, while we're side by side with Paco Godia with the red Maserati number 40 and Roy Salvadori on the blue-nosed Cooper. Cooper was another car that was not very overpowered compared to these ones, so on the long straights of this crazy track they were quite in disadvantage, and in fact I'm overtaking his Cooper again while entering the long right-hander at Burnhamville. Well, all these corners, even at a very high speed, given the characteristics of the cars with a rear-wheel drive, front engine, and above all rear fuel tank, this is something that I could notice in particular in this race, because I decided to maximize the performance, even though I knew that Ferrari is the most powerful among all the available cars here, by reducing the fuel tank, because I knew that it was going to be a 3 laps race only, 3 laps a quarter of an hour. So I noticed that the rear of the car is absolutely crazily escaping everywhere, every time, even in 4th gear and even at over 230 kilometers per hour. It is 140 miles per hour, more or less. It's something that in real life would have deserved much more than the word scary. really. So I ended up this race completely covered by sweat, but knowing that I was not gonna be killed by an accident, it was great fun. It was really entertaining with the peculiar characteristics of these cars, always on the edge, always on a mild drift, and always to be to need corrections every half a second or even less. Okay, now I'm again in the battle. I think I've left behind a good number of cars and exploiting both the powerful Ferrari engine and the slipstreams. I hopefully should get in the front of this big pack of cars. I think I'm 15th now, or maybe something better. The cars I have in front are not all the ones that are going to reach the podium, but at least I could improve my result. Got a little misunderstanding in the point break, and talking about the point break, Ferrari absolutely needs to be very careful on driving. Just imagine that the tarmac is made by a carpet of eggs, and then you get the right feeling that you should have when doing everything, braking, accelerating, turning, etc. Okay, here is the break at La Source. Got a misunderstanding with Luigi Musso on his red Ferrari, and while I'm flanking a BRM, big mistake, and I think I've lost a whole lot of positions. In fact, I'm side by side with a Lotus and a Cooper. I think it's Jack Brabham, if I remember well. So again on the straight, this is gonna be the beginning of the last lap of this short race, while my car is going sideways and someone hit the hay bales that in rFactor are as light as as a sponge. Fortunately, the race can't go on without getting killed again and again. The roar of Ferrari engine, only 4 gears for this car, but really fast, I must say. Was not probably the fastest one of 1958 because the Van Wall had excellent aerodynamics, so even if it was not the most powerful compared, for example, with the Ferrari, which probably was the most powerful, it was faster. And here I'm overtaking again the poor Lotus, I think it's Graham Hill, that lacked the power, so even though in corners it was in advantage, all the rest of the track was a big disadvantage. Now the fuel tank is visible right behind my shoulders, and it reminds me that lighting up the tail of the car is gonna give more and more troubles with tractions and stability. And that's the reason why you see me escaping sideways again and again and struggling so hard. Okay, now I'm the slipstream of Maria. I think number 58 is Joe Bonnier, heading again for the terrible Mazda King. All these cars are faster than me, but one overtake at a time, I'm slowly regaining positions. I don't know how many positions I am gonna catch before the end of the race. Of course, the most important thing is staying alive, staying on track, and getting a sponge to dry the sweat coming out everywhere while struggling to keep the car or at least oriented towards the track. Again on a drift, again a straight. I think I could gain some positions here. Yeah, now the track is the road more than the track is too narrow, so I had to hesitate. Let's see what I can do from here to the end of the lap. It's not gonna take long because there are only a few corners before the end of the race. Yeah, La Carrière again. This is the first of the 2 corners, and another big mistake, risk the whole lot to end into the fences and the telephone poles, light poles, pardon, electricity. So I guess the only opportunity I'm gonna have to catch some positions back is in the braking at La Source, which is very close. I think there's one more left-hander. And another kink right-left. Yeah, this is the last left-hander clubhouse, if I remember correctly the name. And this is the crazy braking. They are struggling between each other, among each other, so I profit from their mistakes. I must not spin, but I can keep the car. I don't think they're gonna catch me before the finish line, but I'm 12th. Doesn't matter, I'm alive. I ended the race. I took a whole evening and just to die at the first corner of the Radion, but I can laugh at death here because it's a simulator. So okay, thanks for watching. I hope it raises some interest in this mode, which is really well done and really satisfying for driving. Thanks for watching, see you next race.